Hello! Today I am giving you kind of a two-for video where my normal process is like blog video together, blog video together, and um, the last entry and this entry I knew were going to be very similar, and also I forgot to write or to do a video for the last one, so I was like, oh, I'll just do. As time went on, I was like, I should probably do one, and then it got to the point where I was like, I'll just do two together. So the last entry and this entry, I'm writing about singleness, and I probably will do a couple others along the way as I'm unpacking this. I'm taking a turn in the things that I'm writing about and writing more openly and being a bit more vulnerable, which is terrifying in and of itself. But I think it's just the way that I need to go, and it's what some people really want to read. And I'm having conversations outside of the blog about certain topics because these entries allow people to start a conversation that they may not start in another way or without it. So I'm writing about singleness. And it's taken me a while to do because it can sometimes come off as being kind of bitter, which I'm not, and a lot of single people aren't bitter, but like it just depends on how the tone takes in what you're writing. And so these last two that I've written was based off conversations that I have often, but I've had recently as well that are the like common trend of topics. So I call it when life ends and when life begins and when life ends. And for a lot of women, and I write from the female point of view because that's what I am, there is this like block of time in a woman's life where you're allowed to do all of the fun stuff that you want to do, and then it depends on who you talk to. Life either starts at wifehood and motherhood or ends at wifehood and motherhood. And this conversation comes up a lot in like small talk or like when getting to know somebody, which is painful for me. I hate small talk. But when people start to hear about the things that I've done or adventures, I've been on trips, I've been on jobs that I've had, things that I've done. Yes, being single helped in that because I was the only one responsible for the consequences that I may incur. But I know tons of people who've done the same thing in partnerships and in families and were able to pull it off. But I hate what that both ends of this time frame, whatever camp people are on, that either, like the life I'm living right now isn't life because I haven't fulfilled this role of motherhood and wifehood, or my life officially is over when I'm a wife and a mother, and so you need to do all you can because you're not going to be able to do it again. And neither camp is true. It's just a lot of societal messages that we get as women that this is the thing that you have to do, these are what you do, and you become a wife, you become a mother, and you take care of the family, and that's your life. That's what you do. And all of the other fun stuff that you do either happens before all of that happens or it happens after your kids are gone. And like I tell two different stories in each of these vlogs. One, I was at the gym not too long ago. And most people at the gym know who I am and kind of know my story. So, but there were some new people. There's a new woman there. And I don't remember how it came up, but going to Cambodia happened to come up as it does. And she was like, oh, I wish I would have done those things too before my life began. And I remember driving home after the gym and I'm like, wait, does that mean I'm not living a life now? Does that mean that, what do I call this time? Like, what is this chunk of existence if it's not life? And I feel guilty, as I do sometimes, because I am I'll be 35 at the end of the year. And so sometimes I feel a bit guilty when I haven't met these milestones that people think you should. And like processing all of that out. And then my rational side comes in and it's like, don't worry about it. Like, you're doing everything fine. This is how your life is played out. This is the path that you're on, and just kind of roll with it like you have, and everything's going to be okay. But it still kind of clicks in the back of my head every once in a while that like maybe I'm not doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe, like I question my maturity at times. Like, all kinds of like irrational thoughts could happen back here when I'm trying to just take steps towards life. And my career has always been something that's been very important to me. And I have deliberately avoided situations like when I was in high school. The only goal I had was to get out of Louisville. And I did it. And I got out and I stayed away for a while. And I came back eventually, several years later, but I wanted to get out and I wanted to see what was beyond the city limits. I wanted to see what was beyond Kentucky. I'd had tastes of it. I'm very privileged in that, like, my parents have let me travel and have given me opportunities to kind of see and explore. And that wasn't enough for me. Like, those couple weeks here or, a week there, a few days there was not enough. And I wanted to see everything. And so I didn't want anything to stand in my way of doing that when high school was over. And I left, and whatever consequences came from that, like, there are friendships that aren't the same, and there are things that I don't know, and parts of, people that I really cared about that I missed out on. But I'm super happy with what's happened. And it has put me in a place that I needed to be to do what I'm doing right now and to be back here right now. And there are people from my life in Louisville from before college and then after college that have molded me and shaped me and motivated me to be where I am and to go off and do the things that I did and then come back and be confident and secure and know that I know the steps and I am equipped to do the things that I want to do. And then the other story that I talk about in the blog that I posted today was about when I was leaving Nashville to go to Cambodia. And there was, I worked at a place that had two different organizations running together. And so I worked for one in the state. It was an organization in a state, the state of Tennessee, that worked together. And she was a state employee, and she was getting ready to leave for a period of time, and I knew I was leaving. I hadn't told all the kids yet. But I wanted to tell her because by the time she got back, I would be gone. And I told her about it in a conversation and let her know because I wanted her to hear it from me. And she was like, do all of this because when you're a wife and a mom, you won't be able to do these things later. And, while I was in Cambodia, I met tons of people that were wives, husbands, mothers, all kinds of things that had family, that had babies in Cambodia. You can live a life. It's different, and it might bring on some different struggles, but you can still do it if that's what you're meant to do. There are some people who limit themselves so much that they won't allow themselves to do those things, that they won't go after dreams because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to stay here and raise kids and blah, blah, blah. And my heart hurt for her because I knew and saw in her so much capability to do so many different things and to really make a big impact that I hated that she limited herself. And maybe it's privilege, I don't know what it is, the environment that I grew up in, the people that I've had in my life. I have never been limited by anything other than myself. I'm the only one who put an obstacle in my way or something that limited who I was and what I was capable of doing. And I hate for both camps of who think wife and motherhood is where you start or wife and motherhood is where you end, because we are only given one chance in so many moments to do such beautiful things. And I hate that, especially as women, that we limit ourselves to this one like small spectrum of time, that we aren't allowed to do something really big with those moments. And not saying that wife and motherhood is limiting, because it's not. That's a beautiful and glorious moment in and of itself. But there are people who limit what that can look like. You can do really beautiful and incredible things and be a mom. You can do beautiful and incredible things and be a wife, and you can do beautiful, incredible things and be single. And there's nothing wrong with any of those parts and any of those titles and any of those areas and experiences. And whether or not like you wanted any of those things and it's just something that kind of you got into, that doesn't mean that the things you were meant to do still can't happen. So that's what I'm exploring right now and talking and in these blogs is body image and all of that is a thing, and and body positivity is a thing that I deal with on a daily basis. But I feel like there are other parts of me that I really need to unpack and I really need to be truthful about. So singleness is one of them. I want to talk more about faith and how that kind of works in all of this. I want to talk more about a bunch of different things. So I feel in a way I'm growing up a bit on the blog and I'm not staying in some place that's safe. I think there's some more things that I really need to talk about. Until then, peace.